All right, last topic, and this gets back to replay review for pass interference. Chris, I don't know if you saw the play from the Rams-Cowboys game late in the fourth quarter Saturday night. There was a ruling on the field of no pass interference by offense or defense. Sean McVay, the Rams head coach, threw the flag, and the end result was a phantom defensive pass interference penalty after nearly 4 minutes of review presided over by Al Riveron, some 5,000 miles away from Hawaii. Now, regardless of how we feel about Al Riveron's ability to properly, in real time, under that pressure of do it now, and I think all of us would make mistakes when expected to make a rational, reliable, correct decision in that moment where we feel like everyone's watching us and everyone is doing this and singing the Jeopardy music. It's not easy to do. But be that as it may, right now, Chris, it dawned on me recently, Al Riveron is the most powerful person in football during the playing of games because he is the only person who can, for every game, grant or take away gigantic chunks of field position based upon pass interference calls and non-calls, specifically defensive, or he can wipe out a 50-yard gain because he can say there was offensive pass interference. I mean, this guy has almost a god power over the NFL games, especially as it relates to pass interference, calls and non-calls. And I don't know that it's good for the NFL to have one person having that much power over its on-field rules application.
Yeah, let's start there. How is he going to do all this? How is it really? Like, I really do. I worry about this. You know, there's 8 games at 1 o'clock in week 1. And, you know, there's two other replay reviews going on, and all of a sudden 2 other games, pass interference is getting reviewed. I mean, I don't know. I just don't know how it's going to work. This review you're talking about in the Dallas Rams game, you mentioned it. It took 4 minutes. I mean, holy cow. What's he going to do if there's 4 other plays that need to be replay reviewed during a complicated type play like we saw in the Dallas-Los Angeles scenario? We're seeing the unintended consequences, too, here a little bit already, too, with illegal contact and pass interference. Ooh, was the ball in the air or not? Because illegal contact is when the quarterback still has the ball. That's not reviewable. This is going to piss fans off, too, because they're going to see illegal contact on plays now, and then a coach might think from the sideline, ooh, that was pass interference. And then in super slow motion, we're going to look at it. The ball might still be in the quarterback's hand. And now the unintended consequence might be, oh, actually, your own team, the guy that's challenging your own team, had pass interference when the ball was in the air. So, no, you challenged it thinking you were going to win something, and in fact, you're going to lose it now. I think it's going to make coaches kind of be careful a little bit about how often they throw this flag to a degree, too, to make sure they see the totality of some of these plays. But, I'm not liking this so far.
I just fired off an email to Michael Signora of the NFL to find out, and it's more of a refresher. There are these little things that I learn about, and then you forget about them, and then you have to relearn them. There are other people in the room who will step in to handle replay review if Al Riveron is busy with one game, but you're transferring that God power to Russell York or whoever else.
Right.
Yeah, and it's always been one of the concerns when it comes to replay review at 345 Park Avenue, and I think it takes on an even greater importance when we begin reviewing subjective decisions. And I'm going to keep saying this every time the opportunity arises, Chris. There's a huge difference between, did the guy get 2 feet in bounds before he stepped out with possession of the ball? Was his knee down before the ball came out? Those are things that we can look at and say objectively yes or no it happened. This whole idea of clear and obvious evidence of significant hindrance to the receiver, that is inherently subjective, and you slow it down and you frame by frame, and I don't know what the hell they're seeing. And for some of these calls we've seen, and the one on Saturday night was the most glaring, I don't know how you call the Cowboys defensive back for pass interference on a 10-yard curl route where the Rams receiver ran to the top of the route and shoved the defensive back to engage him so he could turn around and get separation, and the defensive back joined in that push. And then the defensive back gets flagged via replay review after the fact. That's scary,
right?
And most of the contact happened before the ball was even thrown.
Yes.
Like you're saying, it's illegal contact before the ball is thrown.
Right.
So I really am concerned, and I really do think a lot of it comes down to the ability of Al Riveron or anyone. And maybe the answer is no one can do this. when you feel all that pressure, the anxiety, the needles on the back of your neck, and there are people standing around you, and you got to make the decision quickly, and what do I really see here, and how many times do I have to look at it? I mean, it was 3 minutes and 40 seconds from the end of the play to the moment that referee John Hussey began to explain what the ruling was. That's an unacceptable delay. If it should take that long, it should never be overturned.
Right.
So
would you feel better? Would you feel better if, I'm throwing for instance out there, but I mean, I would feel better if I knew, okay, Al Riveron's back there, who I know Al's got a tough job. I know we're being tough right here, but listen, Al, we know this is the real deal, Holyfield. But
Chris, he got thrust into a job that wasn't designed for him. It was designed for Dean Blandino.
That's what I was going to say. Would you feel better? This is where maybe the NFL needs to address this or go down here. Instead of just having one king, let's have 3 kings. I mean, I would feel better if it was Al Riveron, Mike Pereira, and Dean Blandino in the room. I really would. I would go, okay, here's 3 really smart football guys who understand the rules, and now maybe they can come to a consensus, and maybe that would take some of the doubt out of all of us, too, to just go, okay, here's 3 reasonable human beings who saw it this way. I mean, maybe something like that, because poor Al is in a really tough no-win situation right now where, I mean, my head would be popping off, I think, if I had to deal with officiating week 1 or a normal week in the NFL.
What they need to do, and I know that this is going to require the swallowing of some pride, the suppression of some ego, and the expenditure of some money that the NFL would rather not spend. They need to call Dean Blandino, and they need to offer him between $5 and $10 million a year to come back and take that job over.
Seriously.
Period. That's what they need to do.
That's what we're saying. Dean, we want 3% of that now that we're asking for 5 or 10 for you.
3%? Yes. I want 10%, baby.
No, Dean, come to me.
Just
then.
build it into the price.
Deal. Give me 3. I'll give him you 3%.
You'll get your money's worth, Dean. You'll get your money's worth, baby. All right, but that's what they need to do. And look, I'm trying to be fair to Al. I'm trying to be fair to the NFL.
Yeah.
They don't value the position. Dean Blandino has told me that. That is a very diplomatic way of saying they're cheap.
Yep.
And it's amazing how much money they have and how many ways they will spend the money, but on certain things they won't. And this is now the most important and powerful job in the NFL. It's more powerful than the commissioner. And I'd rather have the commissioner handle the pass interference replay reviews. At least he's getting paid the money to deal with the pressure. I feel bad for Al.
Yeah.
I mean, think about how this wears on you and the dread. Can you imagine every Saturday night when Al Riveron goes to bed and he's thinking, oh, God, what's going to happen tomorrow during the 12 hours that
probably
I
doesn't
have to sit
bed.
there and wait for the next fire?
Right.
And am I going to get it right? Am I going to get it wrong? And what are buttholes like Florio going to say about me the next day? I wouldn't want that job.
No. I mean, gosh, think how about he must feel for me. I got to deal with your buttholeness every day.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.